Hi, I'm Don. Welcome to my channel. Today we're going to paint this Necron Overlord. This is a commission for a local studio, so this is a parade level-ish army painting. The model is primed with Mecha Black Primer as usual, and then we're going to do the base colors by dry brushing metallics. We start with burnt iron. This is a less shiny color in comparison with other metal colors, but it's still very shiny. So I'm dry brushing all over the kit, basically even the undersides of the kit a bit, because the client of this model doesn't really like black shadows or black primer remaining even on the undersides of the model. So we're dry brushing all over the model. It looks nice so far. Just one pass of burnt iron, just one pass of dry brushing will yield you really nice result already. Now we dry brush a lighter color, a lighter tone, which is steel, metal color steel. So we dry brush this basically around on the top areas of the model, because it's like a zenithal effect of some sort. You have burnt iron all over the kit, which is darker, and then steel on the top areas of the model. Now we use aluminum for highlights. I'm choosing Model Air because Model Air is lighter than the aluminum of metal colors. So that's basically it. I just chose the lighter aluminum. Using a smaller brush, my RGG dry brush, we're going to dry brush a bit of highlights around the face of the model and the really top areas of the armor. So as usual, you unload the paint on a tissue paper and then dry brush lightly over the face area and the top areas of the armor parts. So this should really look nice at this point, and we'll be moving on to the washes and inks in a while. Now we use inks and washes. I'm using Mecha Dark Wash here. So the Mecha Dark Rust Wash is a bit red and it will produce like a copper-like color when you paint it on top of the metallic steel color. So as you can see here, we're letting gravity and with a bit of help of the brush or a brush, the wash is settling around the bottom parts of the armor. So it's like creating a gradation of light colors on top and darker copper color at the bottom. So we're basically pushing around the wash so that it settles on the areas that we want it to settle. So we're producing a nice gradation that will look natural later. So you might ask, why didn't I paint it in copper? Like real copper metallic paint, and then do highlights with aluminum. So basically it's easier to paint with washes. It's like pushing around the wash or the pigments instead of doing layering. Albeit layering with metallic colors is super easy because it kind of looks like it's blending because of all those glitters. And note that those glitters are kind of big for miniatures, so that's why we chose to paint it like this. So basically, metal colors, they have very fine pigments. You don't see that big glittery effect with the other metallic paints. So that's why painting over, like we even dry brushed it. We did not airbrush the metal colors here. After dry brushing, we produce a really nice and very fine glitter or shine from the metal colors. So we now paint washes, producing a really nice gradation, a copper-like tone and all that without the glitters of real copper metallic paints. Now we're painting a really thinned down black ink. This will bring out more details and will tone down those really shiny parts that shouldn't be shiny. I'm not showing it in this video, but you should let each coat dry in between coats. Basically, I'm using a hair dryer to speed up the process, but you could just let it air dry if you're painting a lot of models. Now we're happy with the copper and gold-ish like tones on the armor parts of the Necron. This created variation to the armor parts. So we have the steel, a bit of washes too, and black ink washes so that we bring everything together. So once you're happy with the washes, we bring back like a good metallic shine with the aluminum, model air aluminum. We're also using the same paint for edge highlighting. This will give a nice pop to your models. I would say though that this is a bit optional because if you want battle ready models that you could play with already, you could stop and not do this anymore because this is a tad bit time consuming. Or you could speed up this process or this step by just using a small dry brush and then dry brush a bit on the top areas and the places that you want more aluminum highlights. But of course the client would want like more than battle ready painting, so we're like elevating the painting a bit by taking a bit more time or taking time doing edge highlights to produce a more pop to the model. So this is now entering the parade level painting, which is just good enough for any commission work. So basically it's up to you how much time, or up to your client, as to how much time you want to spend with the model, but this is looking good already. So we're going to move on to the painting of the weapons and the Magenta OSL. You could see in this video I place heavy red, game extra opaque, heavy red, and then model color magenta, and then model color sunset red. But eventually, while I was painting the model, for some odd reason, I did not use the model color magenta. I find the sunset red better as a highlight over the heavy red. So we let the wet palette, the RGG wet palette, thin the paint a bit and painted the heavy red in 2 thin coats. As all of you might know already, painting in 2, 3, or even 4 thin coats is always way better than just one heavy coat. It'll yield you really nice smooth finish and you won't cover the details of the model. Always make sure to let dry in between coats, whatever you're painting with, like wash or paint or whatsoever. I use a hair dryer to speed up the process, but I just don't show it in the videos. Now we build up highlights of the weapons using sunset red, model color sunset red. It's a really nice color. It's like a lighter, more pink color than the magenta. The magenta is kinda dark in a way in comparison to this color. I painted around the sunset red around 3 to 4 thin coats before I was happy with the result. I'm painting less and less areas around the orb parts and less areas around the wire parts, making it look like power is traveling around that wire. Now we mix white with the sunset red. As you can see, I'm not using the model color magenta, but now we're using white. I'm mixing sunset red with model color white and then came up with a light pink color. Then I'm painting this in a lesser area, in a smaller, finer area, so that we produce a glowing effect to this weapon and armor parts. Now once we're happy, we're going to be glazing this with a thinned down heavy red. This will be glazed all over the areas, giving us a smoother transitions in between the colors. But it will tone down the pink though, so we're going to reapply highlights with light pink later. Now we mix more white to the sunset red, creating a very light color, almost white color. And then we're painting very small areas around the edges and around the center parts of the orbs. This will be our highlights before we paint this with magenta fluorescent color. Now you can see in this video I decided to paint pure white or just model color white around very thin parts, or very fine and thin, and if you combine those, it's fine parts and areas of the weapons and the orb parts. So now we have highlights. It looks good. It looks really good already, but we're going to apply magenta fluorescent paint to give it more pop. Now to finish off the weapons, we're using magenta flow paints. This is a very thin paint, but it's worth it. Like, I painted around 2 or even 3 thin coats, applying over the weapon and over the orbs. So this will create a very pink and glowing color, and will eliminate the white color we painted earlier. So the problem with the flow color is not really a problem, but it's really glossy even when it's dry. So we have to paint a mecha varnish. So we're using mecha matte varnish. I'm so used to using this, that's why I like using this. I've been using it for a while now. But there are other varnishes out there, Vallejo varnishes, but this one works the best for me. The next part is an afterthought, because I thought of giving a bluish tint to the handle of the weapon, so I'm using Game Wash Blue Wash. So I thinned it a bit and then painted over the handle, giving it a slight bluish tint to the handle, giving it a different color than the other armor parts. Now we paint the final highlights. I decided to use mecha color here. We could use the aluminum model air paint, but since we varnished the model already and we have no plans of varnishing it again, I chose to use the light steel from the mecha color range. The mecha color range is like extra durable. It's way durable than the model air or model color line or paint range. So we're using it as a final highlight, and it doesn't need like an extra varnish on top of it to make it durable, since after 24 hours this paint will be extra scratch resistant in comparison to the model air aluminum. So we are about done. I think this is good enough for a commission work, like army painting commission work at least. So I hope you like the video. It's a bit long, and I think I won't be posting the other Necron painting because it's basically the same. So that's it. I hope you like the video. Do consider joining the channel. If you join the channel, you'll have access to our Discord community. Also, please like, comment, subscribe, and share the video. It helps to grow the channel a lot. So that's it. Saludos! Hi, I'm Don. Welcome to my channel.